Homes are at the root of thriving communities. For half a century, the Housing Council at Pathstone has served and supported Rochester residents in their times of need.
My name is Carolyn Carroll, and I live in Rochester, New York.
My name is Robert McCauley. I live in Webster, New York.
My name is Inez Burns, and I live in Rochester, New York.
I started looking for a place to live after going through a divorce. I have 2 kids, and it's important to me that they have a home that's stable and it's something that they can call their own. So I reached out to the Housing Council for assistance.
I've been in my home about 16 years, and I've done a lot of work as far as remodeling. Remodeled every room in the house, actually. I went to the Housing Council only because I was trying for a home modification. I got a very bad heart condition. I had open heart surgery when I was 42. I did the surgery, I went back to work, I was fine, and then as I got older, things happened. I was taken out of work by my cardiologist. When I found out that we got the letter from the bank saying they were going to foreclose on us if we didn't come up with just a little over $15,000. I was going crazy. I mean, I had to be put on pills for anxiety and stress and all this because I didn't know what to do.
I had gotten into a emergency situation with my housing, and I was not able to pay my mortgage. And I was trying to work out a payment plan with the mortgage company. And I was only 1 month behind, and I got the payment, called them up to set up the payment. They would not accept the payment. Kept calling them every month for a whole year. They asked me to send in documentation of my income. I sent it in to them for a whole year. They still would not accept it.
When I was working with the bank, they were always giving us an excuse saying that we never sent in the paperwork, and we faxed it right to them. First met Luann at the Housing Council. The way she explained everything to me, we knew we were in good hands because she just told us up front, you don't have to worry about anything because I know we're going to get this done.
I've always had a high credit score, but unfortunately, when it was time for me to meet with the bank rep, there was a discrepancy found. I was excited. I thought that I had finished Tanya Graff, the specialist there. Should I just give up? And she said, no, keep going.
You have a personal relationship with your counselor. I have a personal relationship with my counselor now. She knows me personally. I sat down with her. It's more than my mortgage. I went to Luann and I told her. Before I even talked about my house, I said, listen, I'm a mess. I am a total wreck. And she's like, Miss Burns, just sit down and we'll talk. Because sometimes you have to talk about the personal stuff before you get to the important stuff. Once you go to the housing council, you don't talk to the creditor anymore. They do all the talking. And that's what I needed. I needed her to talk to them and let them know, listen, Ms. Burns not gonna give up. You know, they want you to say, give up, walk away from it. Say, forget it, I don't want my house anymore. Don't do it. There's people there that will support you all the way through the procedure.
They actually took a look at my situation and developed a path that was just for me. I closed in May of 2018, and it was truly an exciting experience. Finally, signing those documents and getting the keys to my home, it was priceless.
If the housing council wasn't there, I would have lost my house.
By this getting assistance and by this program helping me to keep my house, I am living the American dream. I am happy now.
For people that are just starting out, I would encourage them to reach out to the Housing Council.
I think that people should know there's help. There's help. Seek it out. Don't walk away.
If you're having a difficult time making your mortgage payment after you bought a house, looking at it and saying, geez, I can't afford to do this, go to the Housing Council.
The Housing Council is proud to have spent the last 50 years providing opportunities for Rochester families and individuals to build foundations through access to healthy and safe housing.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Housing Council at Pathstone's 50th anniversary celebration. We appreciate all of you being with us here today, whether that's from the comfort of your own home, your office, or probably your new home office. My name is Mary Leo. I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Council at Pathstone, and we are proud to share with you the history of the Housing Council, our intentions for the future, and all of the work we've accomplished together over the last 50 years. As you heard in our opening words from our inspiring program participants, the work of the Housing Council is valuable, sometimes complicated, and very often personal. Our team of HUD-certified housing counselors takes great pride in working together with the community to devise personalized plans to help people achieve their housing goals. Each journey is as unique as the program participant. It is the mission of our organization to improve the tenancy and homeownership experiences for low to moderate income residents in the greater Rochester area. We do this work by partnering with state, local, and federal resources, private foundations, and the support of folks like you. Today, we celebrate all we've accomplished together over the last 50 years and renew our investment in this work collectively for the next 50 years. Of all the lessons we've learned in the last year, COVID has taught us that home is very important. Our homes have transformed into classrooms, offices, gyms, and even movie theaters. The four walls that have hosted binge-watching marathons and virtual meetings have also kept us safe from so many unknowns. As we begin to learn how to live with COVID-19 and slowly find new ways to venture back out into the world, we cannot forget how important it is to return home. For many, the pandemic has also highlighted the dangers and uncertainty of their home. Being forced to stay inside has been stressful for so many of us. If you spent the last 2 years uncertain of how you're going to make your next housing payment, or how to repair your roof, or just couldn't bear the thought of another day inside of a home that didn't keep you safe, the Housing Council is here for you. For many, and for all of us, it's important that we protect our health, achieve education, and build financial security by having a safe, decent, and affordable place to lay our heads at night. We hope the stories shared with you today inspire you to support us in the future and consider giving to the Housing Council at Pastone. To tell us more, I'd like to invite Alex Castro to the podium. Alex?
Thank you, Mary. I want to first thank you and the Housing Council staff for the great work you've been doing, either past staff or present staff. As we have talked about, 50th anniversary, 50 years old. I have been fortunate to be with the Housing Council actually for the last 23 out of those 50 years. So it has been a significant part of my life. And with that, with the staff, so I could actually say that I am the member of the band that has been with the band the longest. So I want to thank all of you for the great work and all we do. As you know, in the Housing Council, we talked about affordable housing and a lot of the work that we do in the foreclosure prevention area. We at the Housing Council back in the early 90s realized that the destruction of the foreclosure pandemic, if you will, at that time, where we became the largest foreclosure program in the region. And how do we do that? Well, through prior leadership and the leadership of the staff that we have there right now. Often what people say, so what do you do when you do foreclosure prevention? What we do is, I usually describe it as we serve as an interpreter. And what I mean by that is this. The homeowner is in an emotional stage. They could possibly lose their home. The lender is looking to collect. So what we do is take the emotional language that the homeowner is talking. We take the collection language that the lender is talking, and actually we serve on behalf of the homeowner as that interpreter to make sure that we can ensure that that person does not lose their home. As we look forward, we have also participated when we had the big 2008 financial crisis. We have a program, Heading Home, which we helped residents, tenants, and landlords get back into a more economical situation where they were able to afford the rent by using pass-through dollars to pay for rental arrears. As we continue our leadership and our partnership with local organizations, we look forward for you to continue to be part of our success. So we can call it our success, and that's why this specific celebration of 50 years is critically important. As I said before, we look forward to continue for the next 50 years to continue to provide the services with the people that we serve and the staff that we have. And with that, I would like to welcome back Mary to the stage, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. You're so right. Our work has just begun, and for that reason, we are very grateful for the incredible sponsors who believe in the importance of our work. Today would not be possible without the Greater Rochester Association of Realtors, Evans Bank, Canandaigua National Bank, our Legal Aid Society of Rochester, JP Morgan Chase, and Passero Associates, all of which have graciously supported today's event, and we thank them for their support and ongoing partnership. But today's event would not have happened without our strength sponsor, the ESL Charitable Foundation. We are extremely grateful for their incredible support, not only today, but in our daily work. Our co-chair for today's event is Ajamu Kitwana, the VP and Director of Community Impact team, who has been an incredible leader in our community. He truly fulfills his team's mission to commit in order to collaborate to build a healthy, resilient, and equitable Greater Rochester community. We are inspired and grateful for the work being done by the ESL Charitable Foundation, this year's strength sponsor.
Hi, I'm Ajamu Kitwana, Vice President and Director of Community Impact at ESL Federal Credit Union. It is my honor to serve as the honorary co-chair of this special occasion as we recognize and celebrate 50 years of the Housing Council at Pastone, providing housing-related services to residents throughout our community. Mary and her team at the Housing Council are deeply respected partners of ours at ESL. The work they do in the community to serve homeowners, tenants, landlords, and first-time homebuyers is instrumental in improving housing security in our community. Thousands of residents have used and been helped by the comprehensive services provided by the team at the Housing Council. The organization is a resource and lifeline, and our community is truly a better place thanks to their hard work. At ESL, we want all throughout Greater Rochester to thrive and prosper by living a financially healthy life, and the Housing Council plays a key role in this endeavor. The organization is one of our most trusted financial wellness community partners that help our members in need of critical housing support, be it via direct one-on-one consultation with members or sitting on panels we host to provide housing education. We know that we can always count on them to support the housing needs of community residents. The Housing Council is also one of the community partners we turn to in order to help develop the recently announced ESL First-Time Homebuyer Grant for Black and Latino residents in Greater Rochester. Their input and guidance in the development of this grant is sincerely appreciated, along with the continued role they play in helping to ensure that grant applicants are mortgage ready. We want to ensure the long-term success of those in communities who have experienced inequitable access to homeownership, and the Housing Council is providing critical support to making this possible. At ESL, we believe housing is a human right. Access to affordable, quality housing is a necessity, be it via ownership or renting. The resources, services, and guidance provided by the Housing Council team is priceless when measured against the positive impact they have on the lives of individuals, families, and the entire community. I know I speak for the ESL Community Impact Team, including former Housing Council employee Eric Van Duzen, and all of us throughout ESL when I say thank you to the Housing Council for all you do to support the housing needs of our community members. Thank you, Mary Leo, and your team today for the hard work you put in each day. And thank you to Alex Castro and Sue Boss for your leadership at Pastone. Here's to 50 more years of helping and serving Greater Rochester.
And with that, I'd like to bring our board president, Orlando Ortiz, up to the stage.
Thank you, Mary. Hello and welcome everyone to this historic celebration. My name is Orlando Ortiz. I am the board chair of the Housing Council at Pastone. As Alex and Mary have said, we are very proud to share this legacy with you all here today. I know many of you have been a part of this journey, and we appreciate your contribution over the years to this organization. I hope we've made you proud. As the board chair, I can tell you our work has just begun. We are determined to continue serving families in need of support as they work to achieve their goals. The testimonial video that you saw earlier only begins to tell the thousands of stories the Housing Council has been a part of. During these times where housing continues to be a challenge for members in this community, I'm especially grateful to have an organization such as the Housing Council right here in our backyard. Later in the program, you will see how the Housing Council at Pastone has developed out of the need of housing inequalities in the city of Rochester. 50 years ago, the ability to access safe, affordable housing in a neighborhood of your choosing was limited based on your race, gender, source, and amount of income, in addition to other discriminatory practices. These limitations created social unrest and impacted our community's overall health and prosperity for generations to come. In our next chapter, the Housing Council will provide new and innovative tools for our homeowners, renters, and small business landlords to fight our ongoing battle for greater equality. Our community is facing unprecedented challenges that will have long-term effects on housing access and choice. Our team of HUD-certified counselors are here ready to help and guide those in need to find solutions by breaking down barriers created by discrimination, poverty, and complicated system of resources. I'm excited to announce the Housing Council will be launching new services in the coming months, especially designated to address the challenges of today, reinforced by our decades' knowledge of experience serving in this community. Thank you all for being here today, and please engage as we begin our next chapter. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, County Executive Adam Bello.
Hello, I'm Monroe County Executive Adam Bello. I'm pleased to be celebrating 50 years of critical housing support with the Housing Council at Pathstone. Mary Leo and her team do fantastic work each and every day for the thousands of renters and homeowners. The Housing Council at Pathstone has been a key partner to the residents of Monroe County for decades, providing people with the chance to own a home and to help them stay in their homes if they're experiencing tough times. We are grateful for their partnership in serving first-time homebuyers through the Monroe County First-Time Homebuyer Program, expanding housing opportunities by providing vital services to our low-income renters on their rights and responsibilities, protecting homeowners from the devastating loss of foreclosure, as well as supporting our housing providers by conducting operating rental property courses to ensure our small business landlords have the tools that they need. These important services are essential to the success to our strategic plan, which includes developing affordable housing options for low to moderate income residents, repair and conserve existing housing stock, and revitalize deteriorated neighborhoods, all of which help create a stable living environment for all of our residents. We also know safe housing is crucial to our ability to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Overcrowding, homelessness, and unhealthy living conditions all impede our community's progress in fighting COVID-19. My administration is committed to being a strong partner of the Housing Council at Pathstone, ensuring all of our residents get the fair housing opportunities they deserve. I urge you to join me in supporting the work of the Housing Council at Pathstone as we work to create safer, healthier, and more equitable neighborhoods across Monroe County. I also strongly encourage all Monroe County residents to utilize their valuable services. If you're facing foreclosure, have a question about eviction, or want to achieve the dream of home ownership, you should reach out to our partners at the Housing Council at Pathstone now. They have a proven record of success and are ready to help you and your family create the home you deserve. I thank the team at the Housing Council at Pathstone for their incredible work and wish them much success in their next 50 years.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Malik Evans, an at-large member of Rochester City Council and also a member at ESL Federal Credit Union. And I am so pleased to be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Housing Council. I've spent my career in financial service as well as serving this community as a member of City Council and a member of the Rochester Board of Education. I've had the opportunity last year to have great conversations with the community through the Housing Council on housing discrimination, redlining, and all of the things that the Housing Council has done in their 50 years to help combat past injustices that we have seen in our community. This pandemic has showed us the importance of making sure that we ensure that all of our citizens in Rochester have access to great housing, whether it be on the mortgage side or folks who are renting. The pandemic has also laid bare the challenges that we must face in our community to ensure that a quality, affordable housing is something that is a guarantee for all of our residents. My time on the Rochester Board of Education taught me that our students learn better when they have a stable roof over their head, and that individuals are more likely to be employed, stay employed, when they also have a place to call their own and lay their head at night. I want to thank the Housing Council for spending the last 50 years of our community ensuring that access to high quality, affordable housing is a right for all of our citizens. I am so excited about the next 50 years, and I look forward to being a part of the future. Now more than ever, as we continue to go forward into the future, we must have organizations like the Housing Council, and in particular their advocacy for the least of those among us. So again, I congratulate Alex Castro, Mary Leo, and all of the folks over at Pathstone and the Housing Council on this monumental occasion, and I look forward to coming back and seeing you in another 50 years. Take care.
In July 1964, overcrowding, civil rights struggles, and the lack of jobs led to 2 days of rioting in Rochester. Community leaders realized that they needed to understand the racial disparities in housing that led to social unrest. And by September 1971, a large grant from the Wilson Foundation allowed the Housing Council to officially form as a nonprofit. We grew in leaps and bounds in the 80s and 90s, creating programs that addressed mortgage defaults, provided home purchase assistance, educated landlords and tenants, and helped the homeless. The Housing Council's innovative housing hotline and fair housing programs led to national recognition and a Department of Housing and Urban Development Best Practices Award in 2000. When the recession and housing crisis hit in 2008, we were able to expand our foreclosure prevention program to the suburbs, helping many more Monroe County residents. In 2009, the Housing Council received more national recognition for foreclosure prevention, and we expanded our rental housing support with landlord and tenant services and the Quality Rental Housing Program. In 2011, we partnered with the Veterans Outreach Center and began specifically assisting veterans with housing services. We also expanded our existing services to our neighbors beyond Monroe County. In 2013, the Housing Council officially became part of the Pathstone family. This allowed us to streamline services and meant that we could collaborate more easily with other Pathstone affiliates within the housing arena. COVID-19 forced the world to a grinding halt in 2020 and put a national spotlight on the intersection of housing and health. We worked to expand our online presence and provide virtual assistance to mitigate COVID's effect on housing. Although the housing hotline remains an important tool for residents in need, the expansion of our website has also eased the burden on staff and provided 24-hour access to answers and solutions to an even larger number of households with housing questions. As housing needs and funding shifted dramatically between 2011 and 2021, the Housing Council has remained agile, maintaining a staff that can shift to meet the people of Greater Rochester's needs while using funding wisely. Joining Pathstone has given us a steady base to continue to serve the community as we deal with changes in policy and programming needs. Since our affiliation with Pathstone, 5,496 households and families have participated in a Housing Council program. The work that the Housing Council does for the Rochester community would not be possible without the organizations and people that fund these programs, starting with the initial Wilson Foundation grant 50 years ago. Partnerships with the City of Rochester, the Town of Irondequoit, Monroe County, the State of New York, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the United Way, local banking foundations, and individual donors have helped make the Housing Council what it is today.
Hi, I'm Sherry Catalano. On behalf of Tompkins Bank of Castile, we would like to congratulate the Housing Council at Pathstone on their 50-year anniversary. We have been proud and pleased to have worked with Pathstone and the Housing Council within our communities, serving low to moderate income borrowers and homeowners and those in need. Whether it be for a grant program, affordable housing project, or homebuyer counseling, we appreciate everything that Pathstone has done. So congratulations, and here's to many more years. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Diane Yentel. Diane is the president and CEO of the National Low Income Housing Coalition, a membership organization dedicated solely to achieving socially just public policy that ensures people in the lowest incomes in the United States have affordable and decent homes. Diane is a policy expert and advocate with over 2 decades of experience on affordable housing and community development issues. Among other roles, she previously served as vice president of Public Policy and Government Affairs at the Enterprise Community Partners and Director of Public Housing Management and Occupancy Division in the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We are extremely grateful for Diane joining us in our celebration. As a member organization of the National Low Income Housing Coalition, we are proud and hopeful for the changes that will be made through our collective work under Diane's leadership. To tell you more about the work being done in our interest at the national level, I present to you Diane Yentel.
Hi, I'm Diane Yentel. I'm President and CEO of the National Low Income Housing Coalition, and I'm so glad to be here today. And I want to thank you all and thank the Housing Council at Pathstone for your leadership and for your good and important work over the last year. 2020 and so far most of 2021 has been some of the most extraordinary and difficult times in our lives. Yet so many of you rose to the challenge of working to keep unhoused people and low-income and marginalized renters safe, healthy, and housed during the unprecedented global health crisis, and I'm grateful for your work. 2020 really was a watershed year. It showed us in profound and unforgettable ways who we are as a country, and we can't go back. 2020 showed us the deep structural racism on which our country and so many of its systems was built, and how that structural racism harms and kills Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And it made clear our collective responsibility to repair this deep injustice, to work towards racial and housing justice. The years revealed the collective harm that comes from allowing homelessness and housing poverty to persist. There's nothing like a highly contagious and deadly disease to make clear that housing is healthcare. It always has been. And that stable, safe, affordable, accessible homes are a prerequisite to personal and public health. The year revealed the pervasive housing crisis for the lowest income people who struggled so mightily to pay the rent pre-pandemic and during the pandemic, and who will continue to struggle after the pandemic unless and until the federal government invests in solutions to make homes affordable for the lowest income people. And the year showed us, as housing advocates, organizers, providers, tenant leaders, impacted people, how deep and broad is our movement for housing justice, and how powerful and effective we can be when we work together. Because as difficult as these years have been, we rose to the challenge and achieved unprecedented solutions for renters and unhoused people. Very early in the pandemic, we recognized at NLIHC that it was the latest disaster to hit our country on a new and unprecedented scale and scope, but with likely all the same patterns of other disasters of harming low-income and marginalized people and communities the most, and leaving them behind in the recovery, if not for focused advocacy. So early in 2020, we mobilized our Disaster Housing Recovery Coalition to respond to what we knew would be the urgent need to keep unhoused people safe, healthy, and alive during the pandemic, and to keep low-income renters stably housed. We knew, as all of you did, that the pre-pandemic housing crisis would only be worsened when the 10 million low-income households who were already paying over 50% of their income before the pandemic started losing jobs or hours at work or wages, and had increased health and childcare costs during the pandemic. And we knew that people experiencing homelessness were at extremely high risk of contracting, spreading, and becoming very sick or dying from COVID-19. So we mobilized advocates across the country, including all of you at Pathstone, to get Congress to fund the immediate needs of people experiencing homelessness and to implement a limited federal eviction moratorium. After the passage of the CARES Act, we launched, led, and mobilized, together with nearly 2,300 organizations across the country and thousands more individuals, around our collective demand for rent relief now. Together, we called for a broad national eviction moratorium and emergency rental assistance, and our collective advocacy was tremendously successful. Together, we achieved a national eviction moratorium, which, while flawed, was the first of its kind in the history of our country and kept tens of millions of renters stably housed during the pandemic. We were successful in getting Congress to provide a combined $46.5 billion in emergency rental assistance, an unprecedented amount of funds to address the rent and utility arrears that accrued during the pandemic. And we were successful in getting Congress to provide additional assistance to address homelessness and provide some longer-term housing stability with emergency housing vouchers. We now have nearly $12 billion in funding that could house at least 130,000 people who are currently experiencing homelessness. All told, our collective action achieved almost $87 billion in housing and homelessness resources during the pandemic, a truly remarkable effort. So again, thank you all for your powerful and effective organizing and advocacy. But clearly we're not done. We have so much more to do. 6.5 million households remain behind on rent, having fallen behind during the pandemic. For them, the moratorium was a lifeline, and it was the last federal protection keeping them housed during the pandemic. Now, as the Delta variant surges and hospitals overflow throughout the country, and with the federal eviction moratorium no longer in effect, those families are at heightened risk of losing their homes. We have to work with new urgency to ensure that those unprecedented resources that Congress provided for emergency rental assistance reaches tenants in time to keep them stably housed. And we can't stop there. These historic resources that we achieved and will now ensure are spent well were only ever to maintain housing stability during the pandemic. They do little to nothing to address the underlying housing crisis that existed pre-pandemic and that will continue to exist post-pandemic. Before the pandemic, we had a shortage of 7 million homes affordable and available to the lowest income people. Another way of saying that same number is for every 10 of the lowest income families, there are fewer than 4 apartments that are affordable and available to them. Because we had such a shortage, we had nearly 10 million of the lowest income renter households paying at least half of their income towards rent each month, and many were paying much more, 60, 70, 80% of their income to keep a roof over their heads. When you have such limited income to begin with, and you pay so much of it for your home, you are always one financial shock away from missing rent, facing potential eviction, and in worst cases, becoming homeless. So for many of these same families, the coronavirus and its financial fallout was that economic shock. They lost jobs, they lost hours at work, they lost wages, and it was harder than ever for them to make what they needed to pay rent. These gaping holes in our social safety net brought us to the very brink of an eviction tsunami during a global health pandemic. We must address the underlying housing crisis, repair our housing safety net, and now is the opportunity for us to do it. We have an extraordinary moment of opportunity before us. It's truly a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and it may turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Time will tell. And this moment, it's right now. It's the next few days, weeks, and at most, months. For those of us that have been doing this work for years or decades, as I have, this is the moment we've been waiting for to achieve big, bold solutions. And the great news is that we are ready for it. We have a strengthened, expanded, multi-sector, and incredibly powerful movement for housing justice. We have a president who, unlike any before him, recognizes housing as a human right and has called for universal housing vouchers and major investments in other affordable housing. We have Democrats in Congress intending to be bold and go big with their majority. We have powerful congressional champions who are already leading the way, leading the fight for housing solutions. And we've built bipartisan support for many of these solutions. And now Congress and the White House are hard at work on a potential $3.5 trillion Build Back Better agenda. So this is the moment we've been waiting for, and we need to seize it together. This year, the National Low Income Housing Coalition launched, together with congressional, national, state, and local partners, the Housed campaign for universal, stable, and affordable housing. Together, we're pushing for solutions that, taken together, can end homelessness and housing poverty once and for all. And these solutions are, for now, included in the Build Back Better bill that Congress could enact this year. Included in that bill is over $300 billion in housing investments, including robust funding for our top priorities. $90 billion for rental assistance could house over 1 million new families. $80 billion to repair and preserve public housing for over 2 million more households. $37 billion to build apartments for up to 330,000 of the lowest income households throughout the country through the National Housing Trust Fund. We can't let this moment, this opportunity, pass us by, because it won't come again for years or even decades. I've long said that homelessness and housing poverty are a choice, not by the people who experience it, but by the policymakers who advance public policies that exacerbate and maintain it. We can choose otherwise. We have long had the solutions, and as a country, certainly we have the resources. We've only ever lacked the political will, and now we have built that will and have the opportunity to use it to achieve housing justice. I truly believe that if we get this right, if we protect these investments already in the Build Back Better Act from any cuts, and if we're successful in getting them enacted, years from now, we'll look back and remember 2020 as the year of the pandemic, the year that changed us all. And we'll remember 2021 as the year we began to end homelessness and housing poverty in our country once and for all. So thank you again. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for all of your good, important work. And thanks in advance for your advocacy in the weeks and months ahead. It couldn't be more important. Thank you.
Many thanks, Diane. We appreciate your incredible work at the National Low Income Housing Coalition and for your passionate advocacy. Now I'm joined by our board chair, Mr. Orlando Ortiz, to announce our Housing Hero awardees.
Thank you, Mary. Our first award of the day goes to our Build the Dream Award recipient. This award is to recognize a community member who has advocated for first-time home buyers, created pathways to homeownership for renters, or contributes in a meaningful way to practices and policies to allow more people to buy their first home in the greater Rochester area. It is my pleasure to give this award to Rosalie Ramirez, Community Development Loan Officer and Assistant Vice President at 5 Star Bank. Rosalie joined 5 Star Bank in February of 2017 after 16 years as a Community Reinvestment Act loan officer with Citizens Bank. Previously, she was a CRA loan officer with KeyBank for 1 year. Rosalie is active in the community organizations and is currently serving as one of the board commissioners for the Rochester Housing Authority, board member at the Puerto Rican Festival, Incorporated, and recently served as the vice chair of Latinas Unidas. She has 2 adult children, a 13-year-old stepdaughter, 4 beautiful grandkids, and an amazing husband, and lives in Webster, New York.
Our next award is in honor of our longtime friend and colleague, Joel Kunkler. Joel will always be remembered as a tireless advocate for those who struggle to find and stabilize their housing needs. That is why the Joel Kunkler Housing and Community Award will go to a person or organization that has made a significant contribution to the improvement of rental housing, either the quality, affordability, or stabilization. The awardee shows a passion for assisting those most in need and values the dignity of our most vulnerable in our community, just as Joel did. It is an absolute honor to give this meaningful award to Mark S. Moyo, Program Director of Housing and Consumer Law Unit for the Legal Aid Society of Rochester, New York. Mark Moyo has been with the Legal Aid Society of Rochester for over 10 years. He received his Juris Doctorate from Seton Hall Law School and a Bachelor of Arts from Canisius College. He was initially a staff attorney in the Housing and Consumer Law Unit, where he practiced in eviction prevention, real estate transactions, foreclosure prevention, and bankruptcies. Mr. Moyo was promoted to Program Director in 2018. Additionally, he was a Monroe County legislator for District 21 from 2016 to 2019. He has been an unwavering advocate for low-income renters for many years and has been a crucial leader in helping our most vulnerable renters navigate the uncertainties created by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Our third and final Hero Award is for the Heart of the Home. This award is to recognize someone who advocates for the prevention of foreclosure, protection of equity and wealth through homeownership, or has made a significant contribution to local homeownership preservation. Our Heart of the Home winner is Kevin Purcell, Senior Attorney, Consumer Finance and Housing Unit, Empire Justice Center. Kevin Purcell is a Senior Attorney at Empire Justice Center, where he has worked since 2008. Kevin heads up Empire Justice Foreclosure Prevention Unit and worked with local homeownership in an effort to prevent mortgage and tax foreclosures, as well as working with low-income homeowners who have been targeted by predatory lenders. He serves on the Monroe County Vacant Property Advisory Committee, as well as the Justice for All Housing Working Group. Kevin graduated cum laude from George Mason University Law School in 2005, where he was on the Moot Court Board and Civil Rights Law Journal. He also received his MBA from the Simon School at University of Rochester in 2019.
Congratulations to all of our housing heroes. We appreciate your dedication to making sure everyone has the comfort of home. Thank you, Orlando. I personally want to thank all of our Housing Hero awardees and our sponsors who made today possible. They are incredible friends to our organization and unwavering advocates to our program participants. I can't think of a better way to wrap up today's event. I hope you've all been inspired by the story shared, learned something new about the community we love, and will join us in our fight to create a better tenancy and ownership experiences. We welcome gifts of time, talent, and especially treasure, so please visit our website, www.thehousingcouncil.org, and click the Donate Now button. You can also subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed on all housing issues and help us create a better community one home at a time. Thank you to our keynote, Diane Yentel, our speakers and storytellers. For those of you with a VIP ticket, we look forward to hosted by our amazing friends here. Thank you all for tuning in, and we wish you a safe, joyful, and healthy rest of 2021.